into the business. Joining me now, an independent filmmaker who knows quite a bit about breaking into businesses, Michael Moore. Welcome to Inside Business.
Thanks for having me.
Michael, your documentary, Roger and Me, I think was the highest grossing documentary of all time, right? It was also the first feature film that you made.
Right, yeah.
Where did you get the money to finance it?
I worked bingo games, and you know, I used whatever money I had. I had a house in Flint, Michigan. I sold that, and I put everything I had into it. Basically, nobody would give me money, you know, for it because I didn't know how to make a movie. So, you know, I just had to do it on my own.
That's pretty much the problem all independents face. Are there any resources out there for independents who are looking for financing?
No, and I think it's probably best to tell people if you want to make a film, you're going to have to figure out a way to do it yourself because, I mean, there are some grants or there's some, you know, but I think you have to know people, you have to have a foot in the door somewhere, and, you know, most people don't have that.
You established a foundation, I think, that's given away something like $400,000?
Yeah, actually, I set up my own foundation because I knew how hard it was, and nobody would give me money to make my film, and so from the profits of Roger and Me, we set up this foundation, and half of whatever comes in from Roger and Me goes into this foundation. And we've given grants over, actually close to $500,000 at this point, to independent filmmakers and others.
It's interesting that as an independent filmmaker, you'd be out there trying to help finance what presumably is your competition.
You know, well, I don't look at life that way. I think we need more of this. We need more independent film.
Why? What's it accomplish?
Because we live in a country of 260 million people, and we have such a wide variety of voices in our country that we rarely hear from. I mean, how often do you see a guy like me, you know, in the movies, or hear my voice on television? It's
These
really,
days a lot more often than we used to.
Well,
but
you hear mine, but
right.
how many other, you know, working class stiffs and all the Milwaukees and Pittsburghs of this country do you really hear from? I mean, it's usually LA or New York. And so I set up this foundation because I want to encourage filmmakers from other parts of the country and from people who necessarily didn't go to film school to make their movies. Let's hear what you have to say. I think that really is good for the country.
In your opinion, is it the role of the federal government, the taxpayer, to help subsidize some of these people? Should we be giving grants to artists who want to make independent films?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's very important.
Why is that important to taxpayers? Why should I pay more taxes
because
for it?
we're richer as a society when we have film and other arts that sort of act as an expression of who we are. I mean, I think the arts are very important and certainly much more important than what we spend, you know, giving money to the Pentagon or other places that, you know, I think really don't do us much good as a society.
Some folks at the Pentagon might disagree with you.
Oh, yeah? Well, call me up. Come on.
Let
me hear from them.
All right. How much money did it take you to make Roger and Me, and how long did it take you to kind of scrounge it all up?
It took me about 2.5 years to make it, and I just kept going further and further in debt, and finally, you know, I'd sold all my furniture in the last few weeks, and I was sleeping on the floor, and you know, I don't like to romanticize this sort of thing because,
don't worry, it doesn't sound romantic.
But you know, I think a lot of filmmakers come on and say, well, I made my film, or you know, for $7,000, and you know, and here I am today, and let me tell you, it's a rough road. It is not an easy road to go down, and you really have to be somewhat insane to do it. So if you have any sanity in you, you probably shouldn't go down this path.
All right. Do you have any idea roughly what you spent? I mean, how deep in the hole were you when you finished?
Well, I spent $160,000 to make the film over a 2.5-year period, and I was probably another $300,000 in debt.
All right, now that is a lot of money for an independent filmmaker, especially a first-time effort. It's a big gamble on your part, and it's only half the battle. Now you've got a film. How'd you get it distributed?
I took it to film festivals. The film festivals are an egalitarian way to become known. You can go there from Flint, Michigan, not have anybody know who you are.
You can go straight to Sundance?
Yeah, you can go to Sundance, you can go to Telluride, you can go to the New York Film Festival, Toronto, and if you've made a semi-decent film, they'll show your film. And there are distributors there and people there from all the Hollywood studios looking at films to buy. And if you've made a good film, you have a very good chance of having it bought and distributed.
So basically, that's what an independent producer should do with a film, whether it costs $7,000 or $300,000. That's the place to take it when it's done and hope that it gets some good reviews
Definitely.
by the industry people there.
Yeah, because there's no way you're going to go knocking on the door of, you know, Paramount or Disney or whatever with your film cans and expect, you know, them to watch it. I mean, I guess, you know, that may happen, but I don't think that's how it happens for most people.
Right. You just finished producing, and it just started airing, Canadian Bacon, which is a fiction. Of
Right.
Your first work of fiction. It was financed, presumably, by Hollywood.
Right.
Does success change what a producer, a filmmaker, makes?
Yeah, it really ruins you. And And I think it's best to stay away from Hollywood as much as possible.
Don't you like your movie?
I love my film, but I'll tell you, it was much more of a struggle to make it with their money than it was with mine. Even though I was sleeping on the floor and doing without, making Roger and Me, you know, I had much more control over what I wanted to do. And so I think when you get in bed, you know, with the devil, I mean, you end up, you know, trying to get out of that bed as quick as possible.
Give your own movie a grade based on Michael Moore's own scale of how he would like it to have come out versus how it did come out.
Oh no, I'm very proud of how it came out. I'm just saying that the struggle, the 3-year struggle of getting it out, was much more difficult than when I was doing it with my own money, and I think that's the way to do it independently, and to avoid the Hollywood money as much as possible.
Would you use the Hollywood money again?
Only if they sent me a blank check with no return address.
Slim pickings, although you never know. A slight change, if I can, in look at the broader media industry. We're seeing some big mergers in the media industry. For example, Time Warner taking over Turner Broadcasting, which owns this network. We've also got Disney and Cap Cities. What's your opinion about how that's going to affect what folks see?
Well, I don't think it's good. I think that when you have the control of the media industry in the hands of fewer and fewer people, that means there are fewer voices. And again, as I said at the beginning, I think we need to hear from more voices. We need more diversity. And I don't think the mergers are good. I don't think it's healthy in a democracy to hear from just a few people or have just a couple of people controlling what we see or what we listen to.
But there's so much more to see and hear. What's this world about 500 channels? We've now got the internet that presumably is a source of programming where anybody could just feed their movie onto it and have half the world see it, right?
Two different things there. The 500 channel television, whatever, it turned out to be just more of the same crap, you know, times 500. And the internet is something that the big media companies haven't figured out how to control yet. And so it's very democratic, very egalitarian. Anybody can use it. And you can talk to, you know, literally millions of people on your own without having to go through, let's say, Time Warner. So unfortunately, they'll probably figure out a way to control that too. But
meantime, do you see it as any kind of a good thing for filmmakers?
Absolutely. I think the internet is great. And we have our own internet site, our website for TV Nation, and it's great getting instant reaction from people and being able to talk to the viewers of your work.
We'll be prepared to get a lot more scripts after this broadcast. Filmmaker Michael Moore, thank you.